But by the time I hit 5 years old, it was a time of peace and tranquility because so many millions of people had died during World War II. I'm a baby boomer, right at the leading edge of the baby boomers. So there was tranquility for about 4, 5, 6 years. And we looked up and they said they're shipping Uncle John, they're shipping him to Korea, Marine Corps. Within about a year, we're standing there. He's returning, got a steel plate in his head. So he came back and we'd sit, and I'd be sitting over listening to Uncle John telling what happened in Korea. He and his buddy were sitting there and he said a mortar hit right between his buddy's legs. He said, we're down in a ravine and the mud is about waist deep. He said, we're up in all that mud. He said, and he was seated right next to his buddy and they're eating sea rations on mortar rounds. They started over there, boom, 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 and them North Koreans walked them mortars in there on them. And he said one of those mortar shells hit right between his buddy's legs. He was sitting right next to him. He said the mortar went right between his legs. Whew. And he said, of course, they stopped. The mud was so soft, it didn't detonate. He said his buddy was white as a sheet and it scared the daylights out of him, but he said I came about this close from being blown to bits on that one. So I thought about it. And I gave this to one of the black box gurus. I said, take a look and see how many wars there's been since I've been on planet Earth. I said, I can't remember when there wasn't a war. We're fighting now. I'm 72, you say. You went back to when you were 5 and we were fighting then, shipping off to war. Another one of my uncles, 17, signs up, Japanese islands, World War II. He gets on a landing craft, he's 17. The landing craft hits the beach, Okinawa maybe, one of those islands. The door comes down, he takes about 5 steps. He's gone, just like that. 17-year-old boy. World War II, 1941 through 45. I was born in 46. I escaped that one. Korean War, 50 through 53. Bay of Pigs, Cuba, 61. We weren't that involved in it, but we were there. Then along comes Vietnam. I'm in college. All the guys that fell below a C average, check the board. If you drop below a C average, adios. Congratulations, you've been inducted to the Armed Forces of the United States of America. I'd see the guys leave. A lot of them I never saw again. Then they're over in Cambodia, 67 through 75. Lebanese Civil War, 82 through 84, and all the things that happened there. You know, Marine barracks blown up. And then Grenada, that's 83. Then Libya, we're bombing them over there, 86. Invasion of Panama, airborne divisions all went down there, 89, 90. Gulf War, 90, 91. I mean, it's, every time you look up, another one, another one, another one, another one. I'm to the mid-90s, late 90s here. 90s, let's see, Gulf War. The Somali Civil War, 92, 95. Bosnia, remember that all cranked up? Ethnic cleansing, you know, Markovic or whatever his name was over there, the Serbs fighting. 92 through 95. Kosovo, 98, 99. Then it was Afghanistan. Then Iraq, up to 2011. I think we're still scattered around the earth fighting somewhere, aren't we? You're like, how many do we have going right now? I can't see over 4 or 5 years at any time where there wasn't a scrap somewhere, including here. Pretty good war going on here. A lot of gunfire. They shoot up concerts, schools, churches, streets. It's almost every day law enforcement gets shot. 15 pretty good wars, pretty good scraps, not including the last 4, 5, 6 years. I went from 1945 moving forward. If you start in 1945 and you move backwards, then you get back to our Civil War, then the Revolutionary War. I'm reading the Old Testament here. You read about when Jesus showed up, Roman Empire. What happened? Well, they went up to war against the Greeks. They beat the Greeks. The Greeks beat the Medes and the Persians. The Medes and Persians, they whipped the Babylonians. It was just one after the other during the Middle Ages, all the way up through the Crusade. You look at all these wars, you're like, it's pretty evident worldwide, because I haven't blamed anybody yet. So I'm sitting here and I'm not a philosopher, that's for sure. C+ man. Just a thought here. Leave no debt remain outstanding. Pay your bills. Except one, the continuing debt to love one another. For he who loves his fellow man has fulfilled the law. The entire code, of which the commandments: do not commit adultery, she's not your woman. Love your neighbor enough not to mess with his woman. Love his wife as a person, not as something you have sex with. Second one, do not murder. The killing starts for whatever banner you're flying. And here comes another war, whether it's in your own streets or whether it's in the streets of Lebanon or the Middle East. You say, if they loved us and we love them, no more wars. Do not steal. If you love each other, you won't steal from one another. Think about how many murders that's caused. Do not covet. Be satisfied with what you have. You don't need to be wanting you lusting after your neighbor's stuff or his woman or anything else he has. Whatever other commandment there may be, they're summed up in one rule. One little rule that the human race missed. Love your neighbor. One rule, love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to its neighbor. Simple, but very profound. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of all the commands. All of them. I have a lot of laws I've broken in my life. You say, why did you break them? Because I didn't know how to love. I committed adultery. I lied. I stole. Just fits of rage, drunkenness, drugs. You're like, didn't know how to love. Didn't know. I found out how to when I ran up on this Jesus. God solved the whole thing by sending Jesus down here. He never made a mistake. But boy, were they after him trying to find one. All the sinful, all of the humans at that day and age came after one person, Jesus. So I remove your law-breaking ways. I'll teach you how to love each other. You can have peace of mind while you're on the earth, and you don't have to judge anybody. Just tell them who I am and what I've done for them. Love is the fulfillment of the law. You want to be devoid of most mistakes? learn how to love, we'd be so much better off. That's a few things you can think about. The carnage is not going to stop until we learn to love one another. That's all I have to say on that matter.